Hello everyone, and welcome back to the official SRL League Formula One World Championship. And we are getting ready shortly for what is going to be hopefully one of the most exciting races of this season so far. It is, of course, round 6 of the Formula One World Championship, and we are looking forward to watching and seeing what's going to happen on the 33 laps around the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya here for the Spanish Grand Prix. And as usual, my name is Sam. I am going to be taking you through today's proceedings here for the Grand Prix. And as usual, we are just waiting for drivers to join the lobby and get ready. And we're just going to wait a couple of minutes before we start running through the grid and who is going to be participating here today. One of the big stories coming into this week racing, though, is previous week's race in the GT3 Championship, that being Tim Venting of Red Bull Racing has now officially been crowned champion of the GT3 season, last time out at Suzuka in Japan. So he comes into this race with a lot to prove, has had a bit of a decent start to the season so far in Formula One, but obviously if you were with us last time out in Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, you will know that things didn't go according to plan for the Dutchman. Led pretty much every single lap of that race after championship leader Jerome Adamaco picked up a 10-second time penalty on the first lap of the race. And he would go on to lead, and spoiler alert, if you haven't watched last round, I would highly advise you to do so, but spoiler warning if you haven't. Tim Venting led the Grand Prix all the way until the penultimate corner on the last lap, where he made a mistake. The rain was coming down. He ran wide and relinquished the victory to Adamaco in the final two corners. So he will be looking for revenge here today. And hopefully we can have more than just the two competing for the victory. Jensen Randall, as you can see on your screens, back in the McLaren. He was absent last time out. He is back again. So hopefully at least we'll have a three-way fight for the victory. And if anything this season has shown us so far, it is that the likes of Nicola Falsaresi in the Williams and potentially also Sandro Dullis of the Scuderia Ferrari team can on their day be capable of actually competing for the top spot on the podium. But as you can see, drivers starting to join in now. So let's just run through the grid. Sandro Dullis, as usual, he's in the Ferrari, and alongside him his teammate for, well, almost 10 years now. It is Dion Stahl in the other Ferrari. So no changes there. Then we have Jesper Lempinen. He is in the V-Carb today, and he is going to be joined by his teammate Andrea Latrella in the other V-Carb. Then we have Harley Collins, who's, as far as I know, making his Formula One debut for this season. He is in the Alpine for today's proceedings. Then we have Nicola Falsaresi. We briefly spoke about him and his brilliant race, frankly, in last time out at his home Grand Prix, his home track. So hopefully he can do just as good here today. And I'm just going to quickly bring up the reserves here, because we have a couple of reserves here today. Let's have a look. It is Esteban Galindo who is in the Aston Martin here today. He is substituting for David Russo, the Romanian, who unfortunately won't be here today, but that does mean that Esteban will take the reins of the Racing Green Aston Martin. So looking forward to see what he can do. I'll try to remember to pronounce his last name correctly, because last time out I completely butchered it, which I do apologize. Then we have Robin Herstadhagen in the Haas, as usual. Be interesting to see what the Norwegian can do. Jensen Randall back, as we spoke about, in the McLaren. So it'll be interesting to see if he can challenge the likes of Jerome Adamaco and Tim Venting for the victory here today. We have a double Italian lineup here today, or full Italian lineup for Williams. It is Vincenzo Torre in the other Williams. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. We have Jerome Adamaco in the Mercedes as usual, so nothing new there. Then we have Pablo Bas, who is substituting for Nick van Gelder in the Red Bull outfit, and he'll be looking to try and help championship contender Tim Venting, and as we spoke about, now also GT3 champion, to see if they can produce a victory potentially. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. We spoke about Dion Stahl, we spoke about Atlatrala, and then we have Alex Benaracetti in the Kick Sauber, and he is partnered up with his teammate Thodoris Samanidis, who last time out made his debut for Kick Sauber, did a really solid job, and hopefully for their sake they can do a really good job. And we have the last two here is Ivan Brito and Jack Richards, both usual names so far this season, and we have seen them a couple of times. I believe so far both of them yet to score points, and Jack Richards substituting for Alexei Koivuniemi here today. So an all-reserve lineup for Alpine here today. So that will be interesting to see what they can produce. And if you are new here to the channel, just as we get into qualifying, I will highly suggest that you consider subscribing, because it does help us. It does show that you enjoy the content that we produce here on the channel, and whether it is GT3 or Formula 1 that you are here for, I hope that you will have a wonderful day for today's Grand Prix. But we are ready to get going here at Circuit de Catalunya. It is dry weather, as it seems. Let's just get the full track map on and the lap data so we can see what people are doing. And we have 17 drivers here today, a little bit more than I actually did expect, to be fair, so that is nice to see. No one so far venturing out onto the track. We see Jensen Randall's crew getting ready here to let the Briton out on track, the reigning champion, the number 15 McLaren. And he is heading out, and he is spearheaded by one of the Williams. That would most likely be Falsaresi. It is. But we are going to be on board here with the McLaren of Randall, seeing what the reigning champion can do. A couple of other drivers heading out on track as well. We see one of the Mercedes, one of the Saubers, an Aston Martin, a Red Bull, and one of the V-Carbs. So a bit of activity here from the get-go in qualifying. Does make you think whether or not we are going to have maybe some wet patches towards the end. The clouds don't look as if they are carrying water, but you never know. But let's jump to, let's catch up with Falsaresi here, coming off a hometown podium, as we spoke about, for Imola. He grew up only a couple of kilometers away from the track, so definitely a track that he would have been very familiar with over the years, as he starts his first flying lap, and he is the first driver to start a flying lap here in qualifying. So we're just going to follow the Italian around here into turn 1, heavy braking zone, and then you have this left-right combination before this long right-hander That is the turn 3 of the circuit. Heading into turn 4. Uphill braking zone. This is where we saw Rosberg and Hamilton crash back in 2016, which led to what we can only describe as the kick-starting of Max Verstappen's Formula 1 career, his first victory after being promoted to Red Bull. But right now, Falsaresi has kept it clean so far. He's done a 50.2 in the middle sector, and unsurprisingly it is a purple middle sector, as he is the first one to come around the final 2 corners to post a lap time. Let's see what the Williams driver can do. Heading up to the line, opens the DRS. It's a 1:11.9. And what can Randall produce? He has invalidated his first attempt here today. Let's see. We have the Red Bull of Pablo Bas out on track as well. He's going to be the next driver to cross the line. And what can one of the home heroes here today do? He does a 1:13.4, so it's not the top time here today. Meanwhile, Samanidis splits the two, and so does Jesper Lempinen in the V-Carb. Same goes for Ivan Brito. And we have Esteban Galindo, also one of the home favourites here today. We have a couple of Spanish drivers here today, so it'll be interesting to see what they can produce. As we see, Harley Collins jumps into P8. He's immediately displaced by his teammate for today, Jack Richards, in the other Alpine, currently sitting P7 and P8. Andrea Latrella, the slowest of the drivers who've posted a lap time so far. Meanwhile, I do wonder if Jensen Randall went for another attempt. It does look like it, so let's see what the reigning champion can do here. Final 2 corners. As he barrels through the final corner. You don't really lift for this corner. Qualifying, it's P2 so far for the reigning champion. And right now behind him, that looks like Sandro Doulis gets a bit of a slipstream there, the Greek driver. Let's follow him around the Ferrari, who's had a bit of an up and down season so far. Granted, we are only at round 6 of the championship, but he has had some highs, he's had some lows, and he will be looking to potentially start nailing down some pace here. He's been really solid in the GT3 championship so far. He's picked up a couple of podiums so far this season, and he's been really solid. Hopefully, for his sake, he can start finding some of that pace in the Formula 1 series here. He posted a purple Sector 1. Let's see what he's going to be able to do. It's a purple Sector 2 for the Ferrari driver. What is it going to be? He comes around the penultimate corner now. There's a couple of yellow flags. I think that might be for Jensen Randall just slowing down on his in-lap. Through the final corner, and it is P3 for Sandro Doulis, so ahead of his compatriot in the Kick Sauber, but behind Jensen Randall, and he is just about 6/10 off the reigning champion. Let's see if any of the other protagonists are out on track. Jerome Adamaco coming through the final corner. It is a provisional pole. It's a 1:11.929. So he switches the last 2 digits on Falsaresi's lap time. It moves him ahead of the Italian. And what about, let's see if we can find him, Tim Venting. He is still in the garage at the moment. So a couple of drivers finishing, most of the drivers finishing up their lap times now. And we're just going to stick with Tim Venting, because I do have a slight suspicion that he might be looking to maybe move out on track soon. And let's see. Let's catch up with Dion Stahl, the other Ferrari, who hasn't posted a lap time yet. So he must have invalidated a couple of attempts. He is currently letting one of the Alpines through, as Harley Collins has retired from the session. I do wonder why that is, as it seems to have happened in the pit lane, but he's already posted a lap time. Interesting. Very interesting. And there's a bit of a break out on track right now. And welcome to you, Just Place, in the live chat. I do see you. As Dion Stahl starts another attempt here. See what he can produce into turn 1. That looked kind of solid, to be honest, from the Dutchman. Around turn 3 there's a long left-hander, or right-hander, sorry. It seems to go on forever. As we also have Tim Venting out on track now. As Jesper Leppinen, I think, was that Pablo Bas moving up a position? A couple of positions maybe. Ivan Brito starts a lap time. Oh, big slide there from Stahl. Heading into the tricky chicane in the middle sector. Oh, bit of a control loss there, but he keeps it on the road. Purple middle sector, which I do not think is telling off his pace, because I'm pretty sure the track map is broken in that sense. Not to take anything away from him, but he heads through the final 2 corners here. Let's see what he can put up in terms of a lap time. And he goes to P8. Let's pick up Tim Venting, who's finally come out on track, the number 42. And he is on a flying lap as he just invalidates through that corner. So runs a little bit too wide there, pushing a little bit too much there. But he will have plenty of attempts left in the tank. Just over 8 minutes left of qualifying. At the moment, only 2 drivers who haven't posted a lap time, Vincenzo Torre and Tim Venting. At the moment, the only 2 drivers who are without a lap time. Meanwhile, Jensen Randall at the top. It's not far off Jerome Adamaco, and they are separated by Falsaresi in between them. So Venting starts another attempt, and he is closely followed by Jensen Randall, who improves provisional pole behind the Dutchman. So 1:11.7 currently the target to beat if you want pole position. Let's see what Venting can do. Very tidy through the first couple of corners. Into the middle sector. There's no purple sector 1 here, so it doesn't look like he strung it together as he would have liked. But there is plenty of time throughout the lap to gain those tenths or seconds back. He's pushing, you can see it. It looks planted so far. Oh, just on the edge of track limits there. But he keeps it. And then into the final sector here for the Dutch Ripple driver. As one of the V-Carbs get out of the way there, not to block him. And into the penultimate corner. And the final corner coming up here for Venting. What is it going to be? 1:11.7 the target to beat. He is P4 with a 1:12.2. So he's behind Falsaresi at the moment. Meanwhile, Samanidis heading into the pits. Let's catch up with... who should we catch up with? Oh, he's of course retired. Let's catch up with Jensen Randall as he is heading into the pits as well, of course. Let's pick up Jack Richards here, as he improves his position and lap time by 0.2 and improves to P11 behind Season 2 champion Alex Benedicchetti. So a bit less activity out on track right now. Drivers heading into the pits, preparing for the last attempts. We have, I believe, that might be Ivan Brito out on track. He is not out on track, that's my mistake. That is Jerome Adamaco. Very difficult to see sometimes what driver it is that you are looking at, especially on the track map. There's no distinguishing between the two drivers. But we're going to follow Adamaco, current championship leader as well, sitting in P3. He's only a couple of tenths off Jensen Randall. And Falsadesi has also improved his lap time because he has jumped the German for P2. So it seems like at the moment, unless Venting can find an improvement on his lap time, it looks like it's going to be between these three for pole position here today. But we are definitely not looking at the current pole position time. That's my opinion at least. I don't think we are done yet. Venting is in the pits. Let's pick up the other Red Bull of Pablo Bas, who's currently sitting in P9, so very respectable from one of the home drivers here today. Very, very solid job so far. And he is currently improving by just over a tenth on his previous lap. Yellow flag in sector 3, that will be for the V-Carb, who currently is heading into the pits as it looks. And Pablo Bas, the only driver out on track right now, and he comes through the final corner to complete his flying lap attempt, and he improves by 2.5 tenths and improves to P8 ahead of Esteban Galindo. So very solid from the Spanish driver. It seems like there's going to be a bit of an inter-Spanish fight here between the two reserves here today. We currently have Esteban out on the track as he is prepping for a flying lap attempt, as we have 3.5 minutes left of qualifying. At the moment, only Vincenzo Torre, who hasn't posted a lap time so far. But I do suspect we're going to see improvements to all of the lap times, so long as you don't mess up your flying lap attempt and invalidate. It is getting busy out on track. We're going to follow Esteban Galindo here as he begins his, what I can assume is second to last attempt, as we see Pablo Bas has retired from the session, so he thinks he can't improve anymore, and he is going to start no better than P8 here today. But the Aston Martin here might have something else to say about that. As we go through sector 1, heading into turn 5 here. And he's kept it tidy so far. We're going to follow him till the end of his flying lap attempt here, as other drivers are beginning their, what I can assume will be just about their final attempt. There's not going to be enough time to recharge and go again. And Galindo around here for the penultimate corner. He's going to have an Alpine in his way here. Hopefully it doesn't block him. Maybe he will get a slipstream actually. Bit of understeer here. And then he gets a nice tow. He improves to P7. Does the Spaniard. So very solid from him. But I do suspect we are going to have a fight at the top here in just a short amount of time. So let's see who is in front. It is Jerome Adamaco. He's on his outlap at the moment, so he's not going to improve his lap time first. Jensen Randall has invalidated his attempt, so he's charging up for one final charge. Tim Venting on a flying lap right now. So we're going to follow the Dutchman here. as I believe we might also have Sandro Dooley's out on track. We do, but he is on his outlap. Back to Venting. This is going to be his final attempt here today. Let's see what he can do, as the other drivers in front of him will have begun their final attempts. Venting comes around the final corner. What is his lap time going to be? It is going to be a 1:12.1. He improves to P4, but it's not going to be better than that here today. Adamako is posting purple sectors. He's improving by just shy of half a second. So he might be making a bid for pole position here. Time has run out. What is Adamako going to do? Final corner. It's going to be a 1:11.44 for the German. It's over to Jensen Randall to see if he can improve. There's a Strucken kick Sauber there. He avoids it. He's in good shape, it looks. The reigning champion. Oh, bit of a wobble there, and he invalidates. What about Falzaresi? He has invalidated as well. So unless Sandro Dooley's can do anything about it, it's good. Oh, he spins it through the final corner. He was getting a little too greedy there, the Greek driver. And what could have potentially been maybe a front row start for him. He's going to have to settle for P5 here today. But Jerome Adamako takes pole position on his final run here today. It is a 1:11.444 for the German. I do know that the timer in the top right says 1:11.445. We will get confirmation of what is correct and what isn't. But that looks to be it here for today. And it looked like Dooley's was improving on that lap time as well. So very unfortunate for him that he couldn't keep it through the final corner. But we have the two championship protagonists. The reigning champion and the challenger is going to be starting side by side for the Spanish Grand Prix here today. And Tim Venting is going to be starting right behind Jensen Randall. And Falzaresi has made a bid for him for the victory here today as well. So what a conclusion to qualifying here today. It did get very tight towards the end, but in the end, Adamako, the man who came out on top. Very, very solid. Very solid. But as we see, Jerome Adamako in pole position. He is followed by Jensen Randall, and then it is Nicolo Falzaresi who takes P3 and is within half a second of pole. Then it's Tim Venting, Sandro Dooley's Jesper Lempinen quietly sneaking into P6 ahead of Thodoris Samanidis, Esteban Galindo in P8. Then it's Andrea Latrella and Jack Richards rounding out the top 10 for qualifying here at the Spanish Grand Prix, round 6 of the SRL Formula 1 World Championship. And now we have 33 laps ahead of us to decide who takes the big points. Because remember, points are not dealt based on qualifying. It is dealt after the Grand Prix. And it looks to be a bit overcast here for the race. So might we see some weather have a bit of play on today's proceedings? We saw it last time out towards the end of the Grand Prix at Imola, that the rain slowly crept up on the drivers, and at the end it meant that the track was a bit slippery, which ultimately was one of the reasons that we saw Tim Venting slip up on the last lap and lose victory to Adamako. But drivers dialing in their setups right now, dialing in their strategies, as we are just waiting for everyone to get ready. But as I said, 33 laps ahead of us to decide who takes home the big points here today. And Jesper Lempinen also having some support in the live chat. That is good to see. It doesn't look as bad here out on track, to be honest. Maybe it's just the pit lane being a bit gloomy. But drivers heading off on the formation lap. Adamako heads the train consisting of Jensen Randall in P2. Then it is Falsadesi P3, Ventink P4. And he'll be looking to make up maybe 1 or 2 positions here at the start, if possible, to have the best chance of taking victory here today. Sandro Dulis, he had it all coming, but he messed up on the last corner of his qualifying run. As we get the strategies, it looks to be a 2-stopper here today, depending on what kind of tyre each of the drivers have elected to start on. As we take a look at that, the top 7 electing for mediums. Jesper Lempinen and Thororis Samanidis, the last 2 drivers in the top 10 going for the mediums. Then it is Esteban Galindo who goes for a soft tyre here at the start. And we can see the clouds a bit gloomy out in the horizon. So maybe there is some wet weather out there waiting for us. Andrea Lestrella in P9. Then it is Jack Richards, as we said, rounding out the top 10. And then we have Pablo Baz in the Red Bull. He is ahead of Alex Benedicchetti, and Dion Stahl electing to go for the alternative strategy as well, starting on the soft tyres, potentially looking to make up a couple of positions off the line. He's ahead of Ivan Brito, and then it is Vincenzo Torre in P15, who's ahead of Robin Herstadhagen, and the only driver to start on the hard tyres will be Harley Collins in P17 in the Alpine. So he'll be looking to stay out of trouble at the start and maybe go long, potentially go until we might get some wet weather. But that is it for the grid. The drivers are lining up, and we are going to get ready for the Spanish Grand Prix. So clutches will be pushed in right now by the drivers, and they'll be waiting for the 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix. It is underway. Here it was a long hold, and Jerome Adamako gets a good start. It looks to be a bit of an even one here, as we see Ventink has improved. Oh, there's a big crash. One of the Red Bulls, that is Pablo Baz, I'm pretty sure. There's big chaos, and we have a virtual safety car. Jensen Randall picks up a 10-second time penalty for a collision with Jerome Adamako. And that is just one of the crimes this game has, unfortunately. Collision under yellow flag conditions. It will award you with a 10-second time penalty without any questions. And unfortunately, since Randall hasn't pitted yet, he will have to serve those 10 seconds during the Grand Prix. But we see Samanidis and Pablo Baz colliding on the run down to turn 1. And Samanidis, as a result of that, unfortunately has to retire. I do wonder, we have a couple of drivers who has do we have a puncture here for... It looks as if we have a puncture here for the Williams of Nicolo not Falsadesi, sorry, that's Vincenzo Torre. And we're back under green flag conditions. Jensen Randall, he's waiting for nothing here. He's waiting for the green flag, and he is putting pressure on Adamako. Right as we get going, Adamako with the fastest lap, naturally. But here we go, a move for P1. Jensen Randall swings to the outside and takes the lead. Oh, bit of a lock up there from the Briton, but he keeps it. And he is now ahead of Adamako, heading on to lap 2. It was a short virtual safety car. But Randall, he needs to gap these drivers behind, or hope for a safety car, in order for that 10-second time penalty not to get in his way. But we still have a yellow flag in Sector 3 for Vincenzo Torre with that puncture. We have an Alpine stranded in the last corner. That looks to be Jack Richards. As Tim Ventink here for P2 is putting a bit of pressure on Adamako. Is he going to go for the dive here into the hairpin? No, he's a bit too far back. And we are potentially going to have a slipstream fest down the start-finish straight here on the end of lap 2, heading on to lap 3. But there's a big spread of drivers around the track. But most of them seem to have headed into the pits. Jack Richards retires in the pits. Jensen Randall with the fastest lap. And we have a battle for P3 as well. Venting lost a bit of touch with Adamako in front of him. As we see a move P8. That is Ivan Brito as Vincenzo Torre gets his tires fixed. And there's a big scrap here for the P8 position between Benedicchetti, Brito, Latrella and Herstadhagen. Oh, big off there from both the V-Carb and the Haas. And will Brito go for a move here on Benedicchetti? These two have raced together for a long time. They know each other in and out. Oh, big wide moment there. And we see Esteban Galindo ahead of them. Had a big off as Ivan Brito spins it. Or half spins it. He keeps it pointing somewhat in the right direction, but he loses a couple of positions. Meanwhile, out in front, there's a bit of... there's two battles to keep track of here. Jensen Randall posted the fastest lap. He's pulling a train that extends all the way down, technically, to P6, which is Jesper Lempeden. Meanwhile, Alex Benedicchetti, he is keeping the other V-Carb of Andrea Latrella behind him so far, and they are being hunted down by Robin Herstadhagen, who, as far as I know, haven't scored points so far this season, so a points-paying position so far for the Norwegian. He's doing pretty well for himself so far. See a move for P12, that is Dion Stahl displacing Esteban Galindo. And Esteban dropping a couple of positions here. But Jerome Adamako still sitting in P2. He's slowly being closed down by Tim Venting in the Red Bull behind. And this is the thing about the Spanish Grand Prix and this track in particular. Because most of the corners are fast-flowing corners, we don't see a break happen so often. Drivers are usually capable of following each other pretty closely, and that means we will have DRS trains. But we are probably going to see a move here for the lead. Jerome Adamako swings to the inside, becomes the outside. Oh, they touch! Jensen Randall outbrakes himself for turn 1 and slams into the side of the Mercedes, and they are side by side heading up the hill. And heading into turn 2, Adamako turn 4. Adamako slots in behind the McLaren. So a bit of contact there between the two championship rivals here on lap 5. And meanwhile, Tim Venting and, well, Niccolo Falsaresi, they are just biding their time. And it looks as if Adamako might be slow heading out of the chicane. Got a poor run. Maybe Venting. Can he have a look? Here at the end of Sector 2, no. Adamako with the superior top speed, it looks as if. It looks like they've trimmed out the Mercedes pretty well for him, as per usual. And he has found his bearings again. And he is looking again at Jensen Randall here. And remember, Randall, the only driver in this train not to have DRS. So everyone else is going to have a top speed advantage. Here we go. Second round. Jerome Adamako to the outside. Into turn 1. Oh, they don't touch this time. Oh, they do. But they are rubbing. Oh, this is close racing. This is brilliant racing. And Adamako comes out on top, heading into turn 4. And that is going to have left Randall in a vulnerable position for Tim Venting. Meanwhile, the top 4 kind of losing. Sandro Dulis in P5 at the moment, but this battling is keeping the Greek driver within striking distance. But this is a brilliant battle. Up the hill, the second DRS zone here on this track. Now it's Jensen Randall who has the DRS of the two. How is this going to pan out? Is that McLaren just a little bit heavier on the wings and maybe not as fast in a straight line as the Mercedes? But two moves, or two attempts should we rather say, from Adamaco, both of them resulting in contact. And now it's the turn of Jensen Randall. He has the DRS, he has the slipstream, heading into turn 1. What's he going to do? He swings to the inside. He brakes late, but Adamaco, oh, is he going to keep it around the outside? Brilliant defensive move from Adamaco. Heading into turn 1, so the first attempt from Jensen Randall to retake the lead, proving futile for the Briton. We see he picks up a lot of grass through turn 4 here, running a bit wide. Meanwhile, Tim Venting, he is lurking in the mirrors of the McLaren. One mistake from Randall and Venting will pounce and take P2 away from him. But this is brilliant. Adamaco almost stretching out a gap that is more than that 1 second that you need. And if Randall doesn't have a good final sector here, he could be out of DRS and very vulnerable to Venting. And it looks as if he has lost DRS. It is 1.2 seconds to Adamaco. Jensen Randall has fallen out of DRS range of the Mercedes. And he is going to be very vulnerable to the two drivers sitting right behind him. Tim Venting and Nicola Falsaresi at the moment looking and seeing that the rear flap on the rear wing of the McLaren not opening. And they know what time it is. But Adamaco lost a lot of time down the start-finish straight. And it's back within 1 second. And is Adamaco just playing a bit of games here, trying to protect himself against both Venting and Falsaresi, potentially letting Randall catch up, keeping him within DRS, because he doesn't see him as a threat with that 10-second time penalty. It's all mind games so far. Venting has lost a bit of ground to Randall. It's just over 1 second. Is he going to have the DRS? No, he's lost DRS to Randall. So the tricks from Adamaco looks to have worked here on lap 8. He has managed to get Randall within striking distance again, but crucially he has kept Venting and Falsaresi separated from the top two. And potentially we might see a move here for both it's not going to be a move for P1, but it's definitely potentially going to be a move for P3 here. Falsaresi has the slipstream, has the DRS, pulls alongside Venting, and he clears him before turn 1. Oh, and big lock-up from Venting into turn 1. Almost hits the Williams. As we have a yellow flag. We have a safety car. Dion Stahl has looped it in the middle sector, and the safety car gets called out here on lap 9 of 33. I do not know what that was all about. Let's have a look at the Ferrari and see if there's any damage. Oh, there definitely is damage. So I do wonder if there's been contact potentially between him and another driver. He's lost the entire front wing structure on that Ferrari, and he's going to be heading for pit road to get those damage parts fixed. But this is going to... well, it's definitely going to string or push the whole grid back together. We're going to have a new restart here. I do wonder, are we going to see people boxing? It's around this time, if you're starting on the softs at least, that you would be looking to maybe make your first pit stop. What is Adamaco going to do? He is heading into the pits. So is Jensen Randall, so is Falsaresi, and so is Venting. So the top 4 heading for the pits. And let's have a look and see what kind of tire, what compound they are putting on. Adamaco goes for the hard tires. And he comes out behind Falsaresi, but that is only because Falsaresi's pit box is further down the pit lane. This is crucial for the likes of Jensen Randall, who had that 10-second time penalty that he will be serving right now. So he's only lost 3 positions through this pit stop sequence. Lost a position to Falsadesi, lost a position to Venting, and he lost a position to Doolis. And Doolis is on the intermediate tires. Oh, this is interesting. So Doolis taking a big gamble here. Let's take a look at the tires. So Doolis on intermediates, Andrea Latrella similarly on the intermediates. So they are gambling on the rainfall coming very, very soon. Because remember, under safety car conditions, you obviously don't utilize the tires as much as you do at race pace. And if they have word from their engineers that there potentially might be rain awaiting soon, they are taking the early gamble. And they won't stress their tires as much under safety car conditions. So this is a big play for Doolis if this works out. Ideally for himself, he will be looking for the rain to start falling very shortly, and he will be looking also to the safety car period extending to maybe another 2 laps. We're definitely going to have 1 more lap of safety car because the grid is still very spread out here on the tail end of lap 10. But this is a big play from Doolis. Let's actually just quickly jump on board with Adamaco. Can we see some rain potentially? But there is some drops starting to form on the monocoque of the Mercedes. It is a bit tricky to see, but it isn't substantial enough yet. Oh, and there's rain in the air. Now the question for Doolis is, how heavy is it going to be and how quickly is it going to fall? This is a big brain play from the Ferrari crew. The team who in real life, let's be honest, they're not really that smart. But here in SRL, they are on point. We've seen them in the GT3 series. They had their first joint podium. These 2 drivers together, Doolis and Stahl. And now they have put Doolis on an alternative strategy. And at the moment, Pablo Bas has also boxed for the intermediate tires. So we could be looking at a situation here where potentially Doolis, if this rainfall is heavy enough, could potentially be taking the lead of the Grand Prix. And that would definitely be something. We haven't gotten the word that the safety car is heading into the pits yet. So we're still waiting for that message. Doolis would want it to continue another lap, ideally. Let's jump on board again with Adamaco. And you can see the rain on the halo, on the monocoque. It's getting heavier, and on the T-cam lens, the droplets are getting heavier. And we are going to have another lap of safety car here, because Doolis' teammate, Dion Stahl, hasn't caught up yet. This is huge. This is huge. And all of the... Oh, there's a Williams heading into the pits now. That might be... Who is that? That is Vincenzo Torre. And he could also be potentially gaining big from this. So this will be a very interesting restart, for sure. Let's just quickly again, because we haven't been paying attention to the other drivers. Adamaco on hard tires, Falsadesi on mediums, Tim Venting on soft tires, and then Doolis on the intermediates. So the top 4 all have different compounds on. They are the same laps. They boxed on the same lap, so they have the same tire life. Randall on hards, Lempeden on hards. Then we have Benedetti on mediums, Latrella on inters. Ivan Brito has elected the hards, Herstadhagen and Collins on mediums, Galindo on softs, and then Pablo Bas, along with Vincenzo Torre now as well, have gone for the intermediate tires, and Dion Stahl on hard tires. So this will be a very interesting restart for sure. The grid has been formed up and the safety car is coming in this lap. So now the question is, how greasy is the track? Will the intermediate tires actually work? Or are we going to see... Oh, we see a 10-second time penalty for Vincenzo Torre. Collision with Dion Stahl. That is something you can't do. You can't have contact under safety car conditions. We see that drivers on the slicks, they are frantically weaving, trying to warm up their tires. And Adamaco especially, those hards are going to be very, very cold at this point. So let's see, what is he going to do? It's the start of lap 13. Adamaco, when is he going to go? The grid is bunched up. There goes the Mercedes. And he gets the jump on Falsaresi. Falsaresi didn't get the traction that he would have wanted. And Dooley's behind is under pressure from Jensen Randall already. Now the question becomes, does he have the grip advantage over these drivers in front of him? Or it looks to be still a little bit too dry for the intermediates. He's losing a lot of pace here compared to the 4 drivers in front of him. But he is on potentially what is going to be the preferred tire in a couple of laps. We see he's capable of keeping up with the 4 in front of him, which is crucial. Meanwhile, we haven't seen any movement out in front. What we have seen, though, Andrea Latrella has made his way into P7 on those intermediate tires, and the crossover period looks to be happening just as we speak, as a matter of fact. Because the intermediate tires, they are working just as well as... Oh, as we see a move there from Tim Venting, diving to the inside of Nicola Falsaresi's Williams. And they have to be very careful through this complex of corners. Oh, big slide there from Venting on those soft tires. And into the penultimate corner. They're going side by side. Esteban Galindo has retired, and we're going to have another safety car here on lap 14. That's lap, 14. My bad. My goodness. And we see Falsaresi has headed for pit road. And now we might see drivers switching over to the intermediate tires. Dion Stahl picks up a drive-through for speeding under safety car conditions. And we see plenty of drivers switching over to the intermediate tires. And this could potentially have worked out for Sandro Dooley's, already being on those intermediates. The question is, for him, Latrella and Bas, how worn are they? Are they going to last until the end? That is the big question. But he chose the right strategy, it would seem. Falsaresi headed into the pits at the end of the lap that we just started. Or that we just completed, sorry. And he's filtered out in P11. And the drivers behind him, Harley Collins and Alex Benedicchetti, Vincenzo Torre, they have also boxed for the intermediates. Now the question becomes, what are we going to see here at the end of this lap? Are the drivers who are on slicks going to stick it out? Or are they going to head for pit road as well? If they are, Dooley's will take command of the Grand Prix, and he is going to be followed by Andrea Latrella and then Pablo Bas in the Red Bull. So let's see, what does the slick runners do here? Adamaco stays out. Venting doesn't stay out. Doulis is heading into the pits. Oh, interesting. What is happening here? So Doulis is heading into the pits. Let's just follow him, because he was already on the intermediate tires. He is he's going for the soft tires. Interesting. Meanwhile, what has Venting decided to do? He is on slicks as well, it looks. Or is that intermediate? It's very difficult to see. No, that is a hard compound of tires. So the rain doesn't look to be coming down as heavy as maybe some of the drivers originally thought. But we still have a bunch of drivers out on intermediates. And Andrea Letrella, who's currently in P3, the front runner of the Inter tires. Oh, and it wasn't soft tires, my bad. It was just the shadows in the pits that made them seem red. It was hard tires that Dulis went for. So split strategies, it would seem. Maybe Venting and Dulis are attempting to go to the end from here. Obviously tire wear is not going to be as high when you're under safety car conditions. We already spoke about that. So they could attempt to go the full distance. We are just shy of halfway distance so far. Adamaco 5-lap old tires. We're just going to keep up the tire strategy here, because it is quite interesting. What is the likes of Pablo Bas going to do at the end of this lap? Is the rain dying down? He sticks it out, and so does Letrella. Does some of the others pit? I do wonder. Falzaresi sticks out as well. So there's split strategies here. I like to see it. This is going to be very exciting at the restart. For sure. And we still have a battle out in front. This has not been decided yet. These two safety cars have definitely helped Randall regain the lost time that he had with that 10-second stop and go when he pitted last time out. And he's back into hunting down Jerome Adamaco for the lead of this Grand Prix. At the moment, Vincenzo Torre in the pits. The rain is still falling, but it might not be staying on track. Might just be greasy. And slick tires, they can run in greasy conditions. We sometimes see drivers in real life, as a matter of fact, using the soft tires in greasy conditions because they don't overheat, but they grip up really, really well. So maybe that is the case here today. Who knows? But we still, as I said, we have a handful of drivers still on the intermediate tires. And safety car will be coming in this lap. So Adamaco takes control over the grid. And he dictates the speed, and when we go green again, we see swapping of positions. That could just have been a case of outbraking themselves between Lempinen and Benedicchetti. So the number 8 Mercedes has the control here. Let's see what Adamaco does. We are at the lap 17, at the end of lap 16. And is he going to go the same place he went last time? And there we go. Jensen Randall with a big slide. Almost loses a position to Letrella. And it looks as if those intermediate tires might have a little bit more grip. We see a bunch of intermediate runners moving up a couple of positions. And the rain is falling heavy now. We have a Ferrari in the pits. And we're just going to switch off the tire strategies here. And we see Andrea Letrella has taken the lead of the Grand Prix while we are speaking. Pablo Bas is challenging for P2. And he takes P2 from Adamaco. The rain has increased in intensity. And that means Andrea Letrella, Pablo Bas, and that is Harley Collins in the Alpine taking P3. So the rain did pick up. And Falzaresi in the Williams, he will be licking his lips. Is he going to go around the outside? Oh, he's into the gravel, almost run off the road by Adamaco, who is... Oh, well, he doesn't have a lot of control over that Mercedes. And the intermediate tires, the rain increased in intensity on that last lap. And the top 4 at the moment running on intermediate tires, they chose the right strategy. And Sandro Dulis will be furious with his team at the moment. Because he was on the Inters, but he switched off them. And right now, we have Andrea Letrella in a position we haven't seen him in a long time. as he takes the lead on the beginning of lap 18. But he's under huge pressure from Pablo Bas in the second Red Bull. Oh, my voice is going here, but this is proper excitement. A couple of drivers deciding to stay out, even though they are on slick tires. Jesper Lempinen moving into P5. Let's see who's actually on intermediate tires. Top 5 on intermediate tires right now. Randall has boxed 4 inters, and so has Benedicchetti, who's currently down in P11. But as far as I am aware, he might be catching up pretty soon to the drivers in front. Let's actually cut to him, because he might be only a couple of seconds away from starting a huge rampage here. He is catching the drivers in front. The first driver being Ivan Brito in the second Mercedes. And that's going to be for P10. Points for the Colombian looks very promising here today. The Season 2 champion. And you see the pace difference between the slick runners and the intermediate runners. Oh, big slide there from Benedicchetti. But he keeps it on the track, and you can just see the amount of grip, or rather lack of, from the slick runners as he makes a move for P10 here on the tail end of lap 18, which is what it's going to be for him. And he closes up to Sandro Dulis. It doesn't look... it does look like the rain has decreased ever so slightly as he makes a move for P9 into turn 1. Good stuff from Benedicchetti. Next up is Herstadhagen in the Haas. What can Benedicchetti do here? Look at the grip difference. And he moves into P8. Next on his target list is going to be newly crowned GT3 champion Tim Venting in the other Red Bull. And he is struggling on those hard tires. And let's just see. Let's have a look at the timer here. So the gap between them is 2.8 seconds heading through the chicane here at the bottom of the hill. Let's see at the end of the lap. He's closing significantly. He's almost closed up a whole second just through one corner there, Benedicchetti. And Venting might be looking in his mirrors, and he's going to see a lot of lime green. And there's nothing that the Red Bull driver can do about it right now. So the intermediates came into their own. Here comes Benedicchetti. And he waits. He bites his time. Doesn't want to do anything rushed. But he makes his way past into P7. Next target. I can't even believe I'm saying this. Next target for Benedicchetti is going to be Jerome Aramaco in the Mercedes for P6. The gap is 13.3 seconds. Let's see. And let's just keep an eye out on that. Meanwhile, out in front, Andrea Letrella still pulling Pablo Bas along with him. Vincenzo Torre has been caught speeding in the pit lane and has retired. So 13 drivers left. And we might see a very unusual podium here today. This is exciting. And the gap that we are keeping our eyes on is between P6 and P7. Benedicchetti hunting down Aramaco. It's down to 11.4 seconds. Let's just jump on board with Latrella here. The rain, it looks still to be substantial enough as Harley Collins picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to do him any favors in terms of keeping that P3 potentially. Falzaresi currently sitting right behind him and challenging for that podium, but this is still a monumental result for Harley Collins, because I'm not sure that he has participated in the Formula 1 championship yet. As we see the Williams missing an end plate on the front left. But looks to have the superior pace regardless. And down this second DRS straight. Of course there's no DRS, but that makes it a little bit more difficult for Falsaresi. But right now he would be overtaking Collins for P3 due to that penalty that Collins picked up. And the gap between 6th and 7th at the moment is stabilizing ever so slightly. Do wonder, has the rain actually... The rain has stopped. With 11 laps to go, we don't see any more rain. So now the question becomes, how quickly does the track dry? And eventually when it does dry, because I do think it will, what is it going to do for the Inters? And what is it going to mean for the slick runners? Now the slick runners, they will have to generate a lot of heat into their tires here in a short amount of time. I do wonder if it's still difficult. It looks to have fallen into favour as we see a move for P3. Bit of argy-bargy there between Falsaresi and Collins. But Falsaresi moves ahead of Collins. And it looks as if... Oh, Alex Benedicchetti heading into the pits. So is Jensen Randall. So they are swapping well... Oh, there goes the DRS. So they're heading back onto the slick tyres. So the crossover period, when does it happen? Out in front, we see Andrea Latrella heading into the pits. So does Pablo Bas. And what is it going to do? Are they going to... Where are they going to filter out? That's the big question. Let's have a look. So Adamaco, the first of the slick tire runners, at the moment when Latrella entered the pits, was 29.6 seconds behind the V-carb. Adamaco is coming around the final corner now. So Latrella is going to retain the lead. Pablo Bas is going to retain P2, but they are being hunted down by championship leader Jerome Adamaco in P3. Falsaresi filters out into P4, Harley Collins into P5. Jesper Lempinen, is he going to retain his P6 from Tim Ventink? Looks as if. So the slick tire runners, the people who stayed out on slick tires, they've still lost a lot of time through the wet period. But, crucially, the drivers out in front right now are usually not the drivers that we are used to seeing running at the front. We have seen Latrella run at the front, but the likes of Pablo Bas and Harley Collins, they don't usually find themselves in these kinds of positions. As I do have to apologize for my voice slowly letting go, much like the intermediate tires did a couple of laps ago. I'll see if I can keep it in check. We have 10 laps to go as Latrella begins lap 24. Adamaco, you can see him in the background there when we are watching Pablo Bas. The ominous silver arrow lurking in the background, and he's slowly but surely catching the Red Bull. And right now, it has shaken up the order a little bit as we see big snap there from Adamaco. There might be a dry line, but if you get slightly offline, it's still going to be wet around on the track. As we have a bit of a battle going on here between Ivan Brito and... no, sorry, that's not a battle, as a matter of fact. That is just Hedestad Hagen boxing. And that promotes Benedicchetti into P10. But he is being hunted down by reigning champion Jensen Randall. I do apologize, as I said. But back out in front, Adamaco, 3.7 seconds. And he is slowly closing that gap to Pablo Bas. And the field is kind of spread out. We might see a battle shortly here between two champions. Season 2 and a 4-time champion. Oh, Jensen Randall picks up a 3-second time penalty as he dives to the inside of the kick sauber of Alex Benedicchetti. Benedicchetti lets him go, doesn't want to fight it. And next on the hit list is going to be Ivan Brito for Jensen Randall. But that 3-second time penalty makes it a little bit more difficult, you would think. But it has shaken up the order quite severely, as we have spoken about a couple of times. Drivers are fairly spread out, to be fair. Meanwhile, Andrea Trella, I don't know whether he has made a mistake, whether Pablo Bas is just faster, or if this is tactical games between the two Red Bull sister teams to try and work together to keep Aramaco at an arm's distance to try and protect themselves against the Germans' charge here. Because Bas is within DRS range. He goes for the move, he goes for the lead. It seems like he scared Latrella a little bit there. We saw the movement of the V-carb, indicating maybe that Latrella didn't expect the Red Bull to be there. But Pablo Bas takes the lead of the Grand Prix here on the start of lap 26. And the laps are winding down. But you know what else is winding down? The gap between Aramaco and the front two. It seems like whatever the game tries to throw at this man, he is capable of conquering it, as Latrella picks up a 3-second time penalty. And that is going to make things a little bit more difficult for him. Because virtually right now, Aramaco has already taken P2. But there's still a long way to go. We have seen Aramaco make mistakes in the past. But it looks as if he is faultless when it comes to Formula 1. And we go down the start-finish straight. Latrella, is he going to pressure Pablo Bas? He swings to the outside here. Doesn't really want to go for it, it seems. The gap is back up to around 2.7 seconds. So this DRS training, it seems to be working for the Red Bull boys. But he's closing in the middle sector, Aramaco. And Latrella, he is led so far, but he had to give up the position to Pablo Bas. Oh, big clunk over the curb there from the V-carb. And it's down to 2.2 seconds now, the gap between himself and Aramaco. Very shortly he will be within DRS range of the V-carb. And then what happens? So we might see a fight here in maybe 2 or 3 laps between the top 3 here. And how that is going to pan out will be very interesting to see. Dion Stahl picks up a 3-second time penalty. It is not going to do anything in terms of his position, because he is 48 seconds behind P12 man, Mr. Robin Herstadhagen. And Aramaco, he's almost within 1 second now. 1.5 seconds between the two. Pablo Bas still leading here in the Red Bull. He's broken the DRS gap to Latrella. And Aramaco is very soon going to do the opposite to the V-carb. Quietly running in P4 is Nicolo Falsaresi, who's made his way back up after that chaotic middle part of the Grand Prix. And Harley Collins, respect to him, still sitting in P5, but as of right now he would drop a position at the checkered flag due to that 3-second time penalty, and Jesper Lempinen being within those 3 seconds. Venting in P7, then we have Dulis in P8, Ivan Brito in P9, and Jensen Randall, much like the Bahrain Grand Prix, it doesn't seem like anything goes his way this season. And he is currently sitting in P10. And now we are going to see a battle here. We cut back as they came down the start-finish straight. Lap 29 has begun, and Jerome Aramaco has begun his attack on the V-carb in P2. He has plenty of laps to do it. We've seen him have the pace. He just needs to avoid any sorts of penalties. Meanwhile, Pablo Bas stretching the gap while these two sort things out for P2. Aramaco within DRS range, but this straight is not long enough for it. So he's going to have to try and see if he can pressure Latrella into a mistake, or, as we're probably going to see going on to lap 30, going to have to do it the easy way down the start-finish straight. He would have been saving a lot of energy here, and he will be blasting it all right now. DRS slots open on the Mercedes. So let's see, what's this going to be for Aramaco? Heads to the inside and clears the V-car before we even make the turn-in point. Oh, clutters over the curb a little bit there, but he keeps the Mercedes pointing in the right direction. And 1.7 seconds is what stands between Aramaco and another victory here in the Formula One World Championship. And not only that, but his closest rivals, Tim Venting and Jensen Randall, are currently sitting down in P7 and P10 respectively. So this would be a huge points gain for the German in the Mercedes if he takes victory here today. As Jensen Randall just posted the fastest lap of the race, it shows that he has the pace, but it doesn't count for anything anymore. So the 1.145 that he posted, it's not going to do much for him. But heading on to lap 31, the gap is not below 1.6 seconds yet. Oh, there we go. So 1.5 seconds between Pablo Bas and Jerome Aramaco. As we start lap 31 out of 33. Can the Spaniard on home soil do the unthinkable? Andrea Latrella picks up another 3-second time penalty, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if it was his first one or if it was his second one, but that renders him out of contention for P2. The gap is slowly growing here. It's almost 2 seconds between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. So Pablo Bas, lap 31, he's leading the Grand Prix on home soil. Jensen Randall makes it past Ivan Brito down the start-finish straight for P9. That doubles his points tally today. Looks to be one of those days for Randall. 6.6 seconds up to Dulis. That doesn't look doable, unfortunately, for him. But almost 2 seconds between the front two as we begin the penultimate lap here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And the crowd will be cheering on the man in P1 because it's one of the home heroes. Spanish-born Pablo Bas, currently substituting for Nick van Gelder and being the teammate of newly crowned GT3 champion and championship contender in the Formula One World Championship, Tim Venting. It's not just a team with a lot of heritage. He is substituting for a champion in this championship. Nick van Gelder, Season 4 champion. If my mind serves me correctly. I do not remember if it was Season 5 or Season 4, but he is a one-time champion nonetheless. Tim Venting, similarly, also a one-time champion in the Formula One World Championship. So, big boots to fill. And this team as well, Season 1 Constructors Champions, Red Bull. It's 1.5 seconds as we begin the final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix. We have seen all kinds of things in this Grand Prix. Multiple safety cars, wet weather that threw everything into disarray. And not only did we go from dry to wet, but we went from wet to dry back again. And Jerome Adamaco is putting the pressure on now. He's closed 1/10 through the first couple of corners. And Pablo Bas, all he needs to do is complete this lap. We saw something similarly 2 weeks ago. The Red Bull leading for so long. Hopefully, for his sake, he won't make the same mistake. The track is not as wet as it was back at Imola. But it looks as if we could be witnessing something very spectacular here. We're not going to jinx it yet. But the final 3 corners for Pablo Bas here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Penultimate corner, the final corner for the Red Bull substitute. Pablo Bas on home soil takes victory here today ahead of Jerome Adamaco after a crazy race with Andrea Latrella very surprisingly picking up P3 here today. And then it is Nicolo Falsaresi in P4. Harley Collins is going to come home to finish in P6 ultimately, because he is going to see Jesper Lempinen promoted into P5. And Tim Venting gets Harley Collins at the end. But Pablo Bas, take a bow. The Spaniard who substituted for a one-time champion in a championship-winning team, and ultimately a team that looks to be challenging for the Constructors and Drivers' Championship this year as well. He has done the unthinkable here today, and if my memory serves me correct, this might actually be his first victory in SRL. So, round of applause for the home hero Pablo Bas. What a drive. Absolutely fantastic strategy call from the Red Bull team to bring Pablo Bas his first home victory in SRL, and potentially, if my memory serves me correctly, first victory in SRL. And the Spanish population is gonna love this. If the Italians loved having Nicolo Falsaresi on the podium 2 weeks ago, the Spanish will love having Pablo Bas victorious here today. What a Grand Prix we just bore witness to. Absolutely amazing. And we do have to give credit as well to Andrea Latrella, back on the podium in SRL. He's a multiple Grand Prix winner, but this was one that came out of nowhere. Very, very solid from the Italian. But Pablo Bas takes a very unexpected home victory ahead of Jerome Adamaco, and completing the podium is Latrella, as we spoke about. And the other Italian are Falsaresi in P4, then it is Lempinen P5, Venting P6, Harley Collins in P7, Dulis P8, Jensen Randall P9, and Ivan Brito picks up the final points-paying position in P10 to give a double points finish to Mercedes. And not only was this a crazy Grand Prix, it also means that Jerome Adamaco extends his championship lead in front of Tim Venting, who had a horrible Grand Prix, is fair to say. And it is correct. First victory for Pablo Bas, and what a place to do it at your home Grand Prix. Take a bow. Congratulations to him, and also congratulations to Red Bull, it has to be said. So, very, very solid, and what a chaotic Grand Prix that ended up throwing, well, everything that we expected into disarray. And if we can just have more of these races, it's been so good so far this season. We are only at round 6 and it's all up in the air, it would seem. So this has been amazing. And I am definitely looking forward to the rest of the season. If this is the way that it's going to continue, I really hope that it will. Because, as I said, so far it's been a blast. But speaking of the rest of the season, obviously we're heading into December now. And that means we are inching closer to Christmas as well. So we do not have that many race weekends before we go on Christmas break. But fear not, we are going to be back next week with round 7 of the SRL Formula 1 World Championship. It is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which obviously coincides with the real-life event as well. And then on the 13th of December, we are going to have the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which is going to be round 8 of the Formula 1 World Championship. And the 20th of December is going to be the last race before we head for Christmas break. It's unfortunately not going to be in the Formula 1 World Championship, but it is going to be the GT3 season finale at Laguna Seca, round 6 of that championship. And as I said, it's going to be the season finale. So plenty of good racing to look forward to. I am definitely looking forward to especially the coming 2 weeks with Abu Dhabi and Azerbaijan. And then the 20th of December, you will be graced by the smooth voice of Jensen Randall, who will lead you and guide you through the final race of the GT3 season. So if you do not want to miss any of those races and also any of the races that we have planned for the start of the new year, I would highly suggest that you both subscribe and turn on notifications so that when we go live, you won't miss it. But as we said, next 3 weeks completely booked out on Saturdays, so make sure that you tune in. Oh, what a Grand Prix to start your Saturday off. And if you enjoyed it just as much as I did, I would also urge you to maybe consider liking the live stream. It shows us that you like what we're doing here. And as always, results are obviously provisional. So they are due to change if anything is found to have happened that we didn't catch either by the stewards or on the live streams. So make sure you head over to Instagram and follow us on @SRL_F1, because that's where you will have all of the latest news, both in terms of penalties, but also announcements that may be announced in the near future. But with that being said, I think we're just going to close it off here. What an absolutely stacked tail end of the year that we are going to have, but I'm looking forward to it. And my name is Sam. I have been your commentator today. I'll look forward to seeing you for the upcoming 2 weeks. And until we see each other again, I hope you have a lovely Saturday, have a lovely week, and just enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.